this episode of Keeping It Real with Kent. We're looking very forward to talking to a couple of my dear friends, my lovely daughter, Kaitlin Bush, and our friend Kevin Crouch, who is the weatherman here in town. So, yeah, everybody's got to do something, right? And so we like it, and we're very excited about it. But we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the real estate industry and how it affects people of the age, between the 20s and 30. And what's going on with them in their life. But before we start there, I just want to bring a little bit of information to you. If you haven't been paying attention, I want you to go out and look online and kind of follow what's going on with our dear friend Zillow, right? And we know as real estate professionals that, people get confused because of what's going on, and they're very good at disrupting our market and making people see what's going on. But what they did yesterday was they decided to get out of the buying market where they at one time would come in and make an offer on your home, right? And they did that for about 2 years and bought a lot of homes and kind of disrupted the marketplace and what the values really were worth there. And so yesterday they decided that business model did not work for them. And they decided to get out of that model, and they laid off 25% of their workforce. So, yeah, it's a crazy thing, guys. And so when you're looking for real information about what's going on in the real estate market, be really cautious of where you go. There's a lot of people out there trying to say that they're the experts at this. Guys, I'm telling you, stay with your local person. There's a local real estate agent that's here that knows what they're doing. They understand the market that you're in. You're not looking to buy across the nation. You're looking to buy within a 20-mile radius of where you are, right? And when you do that, you need somebody that understands that piece of the market. And so be sure that you're reaching out to a real estate professional when you do that. So, all right. So, Kaitlin, just tell them a little bit about who you are, what you do. Yeah.
My name is Kaitlin Bush. I am a loan officer with Mid-America Mortgage Southwest. Here in Midlothian, I specialize in purchases and refinances. Any kind of mortgage financing that you need, I can help you with. It's a very fun career. It has kind of made me realize that life is crazy and that I am so happy and blessed to be able to help people achieve the American dream, quote unquote. And so it's a lot of fun, so I really enjoy it. And I specialize in Ellis County and Tarrant County.
Outstanding. All right, Kevin, so I'm glad you're here with us today. So give me just a little brief, of who you are and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, so I have been obsessed with weather since I was a child. So I started Ellis County Weather back in 2015 as just kind of an experiment to cover weather on a local level. Really, it started with, I had so many people asking me questions about different storms going on and things, and my phone would be blowing up, so I just started a Twitter page that I could tell everybody, just go here and stop blowing up my phone. Put it out there once and everybody can see it, we're done.
Yep.
It blew up very quickly, so 6 years later I'm doing this full time.
Awesome.
Partnered with Ellis Down Home, of course, and the Waxahachie Sun as well, to bring that kind of coverage to them. And for a long time I had to do this kind of on the side with a full-time job, going to school and everything else. So fortunately, I've been able to build that to the point of doing that full-time, so I can, fully devote myself to that, because weather has its own schedule.
That's true.
Yeah. There's no full-time job in the world that is that flexible.
Right.
So I'm really excited to be able to do that, and then I kind of, obviously this is not a weather-related conversation, but,
right? Yeah.
The other thing is that what's kind of rare is I am a 30-year-old homeowner. That is not something that's very common right now.
Right. No, it's not.
And my generation, affectionately or sometimes not so affectionately called the millennial generation, have had a lot of hard times getting into homes. But fortunately, I'm one of the few that I do own my own home. And so that has allowed me to have a stable base from which to run Ellis County Weather and the flexibility to do some of those things as well.
Great. So first off, I will tell you this, is that I was having a conversation with my wife the other day, and I told her that you were going to be on with us today, and she's like, "Oh, I follow him."
Yeah.
I was like, "Really?" I had no clue. It's like, wow, that's awesome. So so that's cool. So tell me a little bit about your experience that you went through when you purchased your home? Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it?
Well, I started to wonder if they were going to ask me for every tardy slip I got in elementary school.
Right.
We do.
Because that was the thing that I'll always take away from it is that everything I've ever put my name to, whether I knew it better or not, was asked for.
Yep.
And so I vividly remember there was one evening when my wife and I were walking around downtown Waxahachie, and we got an email at 9:30 at night or something from our realtor saying, "Hey, we need this," or actually, I think it was the mortgage
person
officer that said, "We need this." And so there I am on my iPhone, like searching through my iCloud storage, trying to find this obscure thing that I'd forgotten existed.
Right.
You know, it was stressful from the perspective of just having to produce all of that and keep tabs on things and comb through financial statements and figure out this one obscure thing over here. What was that about? I'm going, I was hungry on a Tuesday. I don't remember what that was. But fortunately, the housing market back then. This was back in 20. When did we buy that house? Man, I'm going blank.
Yeah.
Mid 20, probably 20. I think it was 2015 actually, 2014.
Okay.
When we bought the house, and so the housing market was not as competitive at that time.
Right. You were right before the big boom.
Yeah. So we found a home that was recently rented. It had been fixed up and cleaned up. We still had to get a few things redone because a few things were done kind of quickly and with low expense and those kind of things. But we were very fortunate that we were able to find a home relatively quickly without the kind of whiplash you get now.
Right.
How quickly houses are going. So it was an exhausting process, but we had a great loan officer. We had a great realtor that worked with us, and overall, it was a relatively painful process.
Okay, outstanding. Well, that's good to hear.
Well, and I love that you said the comment about I just ate there that one Tuesday. The funniest thing that I get is when we ask for bank statements, people are like, "Well, I don't want the underwriter to know how many times I went to Chick-fil-A." I have had multiple tens of 20s of people saying, I don't want the underwriter to know how much I go to Chick-fil-A. And I'm like, the underwriter goes to Chick-fil-A just as much as you do. It is okay.
Right.
It's just really funny that those things are, that's what comes to people's mind is like, oh my gosh, they're going to see what I spent money on. And so it's just really funny that you said that.
Yeah, I think the one example I can think of where it was kind of fun trying to backtrack this whole thing is I think there was an overdraft statement or something, an overdraft event, where, of course, they want you to write a note and kind of figure out what the situation was. And we were looking at it, and things didn't quite add up, so we were going, wait, what day was that? And we were trying to kind of think through that day, and it was funny because my wife was my wife was pregnant at the time, and she wrote a check to the doctor's office at the same time that I think I wrote like a rent check or something, and we didn't realize we were both doing that at the same time. So it was like these two things were going on, and we had to think about it. And we thought we probably should have coordinated that better.
Yeah, probably.
But it was just to go back and look over all of those things.
Until you've been through the process, you don't know.
You don't know. Yeah, you have no idea.
I mean, it's always interesting to me. My favorite thing that comes from the loan officer is that please be sure and send the blank page.
At the very end.
Yeah, there's always a blank
page.
There's
always page 8
and you have to send a blank page. And it's like, really?
Page 8 of 8
blank.
is always blank. But if you only send me page 1 through 7 and they need page 8, you could be hiding something.
Right.
So Austin, Texas is the #1 city in the United States for money laundering.
Oh, interesting.
Yes,
really?
a fun fact,
Yeah.
yes. Because there are so many young people moving to Austin that they are being targeted by whoever is doing the money laundering down there. Right. They're being targeted and they're funneling money through their accounts.
Really?
Yeah, so kind of a fun
That's
fact.
interesting.
So another little tip on young people purchasing homes.
So Kaitlin, so you do a lot of loans and you're out there and you're working with people of all ages. So the people that are in that millennial category, right? Tell me what challenges do you see they're having for being able to be approved for a loan? So
the biggest thing, so I am 27 and I also own a home. So I have a house, and so it was also an ordeal to get. But the biggest thing that people have an issue with is just primarily having the money in reserves to get approved for a loan. So people who have been working for 35 plus years as of people compared to people who have been working for 6 years, it's very different whenever you see their bank statements. People's 401ks who have been with companies for 30 years are in the hundreds of thousands, and you'll see some people whose 401k only have $5,000 in them. So the biggest thing is reserves and getting approved for loans and having that kind of like buffer and the underneath that people need to have these reserves to get these homes, is they just don't have the buffer. A good word?
Buffer.
Okay.
I mean, you could say buffer. I would even. I think from my generation, the way you did. I think if you said just the wealth.
Yeah.
Because
They just
if you-
don't
if
have.
you
They
don't
haven't
have wealth-
built. Yeah. They haven't.
If you don't have wealth built up.
Yeah.
You know, because that's the thing is we kind of
We're not there yet.
right.
I mean, we're just we're young.
Well,
and
and,
we don't
and it
have.
makes sense. I mean, it should make sense that you've only been in the workplace for.
Yeah, you've only been in the workplace for six to 10
years,
years,
yeah,
and so
I
you
mean-
don't have that wealth built up.
And the expectation would be that somebody that's been there 35 years should have done that.
Yeah, so
Right.
should, and
They
so
don't
that's
all do it, but they
no.
should.
But I think that's the biggest challenges that we're facing is that, and also the traditional buying and selling process is you own a home, you sell a home. The proceeds from selling your home pay for your new home.
Correct.
That is a traditional process when it comes to purchasing a home. As someone, so let's just use myself for example, when we bought we didn't have a home before
Right.
then, so we were first-time home buyers. So as a first-time home buyer, it is very difficult to have that cash available, and it's hard. It's hard to put all of your life savings into a home.
Right.
I understand that it's gonna, come back and it's gonna be a really good investment because I am in the real estate field. But for some people, it's very difficult for people to wrap up $30,000 to $50,000 into their home.
Outstanding. Yeah, I agree. So we'll be right back right after this message.
Hey, I'm Haley Bush-Kurth with the Better Together Realty Group. We are powered by EXP, and we are your local experts. We are right here in Ellis County. Our office is in Midlothian, and we are here to serve you with all of your real estate needs. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or maybe an empty nester or anywhere in between, we can help you with the purchase and the sale of any property. And we also help investors grow their portfolios as well as manage their properties for them. So we are truly full-service real estate right here in Ellis County. We would love to help serve you or anyone that you know reach their home goals. You can reach my whole team at 972-246-8297. You can call or text that number. You can always email us at team@bettertogetherrg.com, or you can stop by our office right here in Midlothian.
So we're back, and it's and we're here with Kaitlin and Kevin. We're going to have a little bit more fun talking about real estate and the things that are going on here in Ellis County. So I always ask a couple questions of people, and I'll ask the question to you guys too. Is first is why Ellis County? Why did you come to Ellis County?
Well, my ancestors did it for me. My family has been in Ellis County since the mid-1800s.
Wow.
Oh,
So
wow,
we
cool.
have very deep roots. But I will say that I moved to Arlington for a year, went to school up there, and there's nothing like home for one, but Ellis County is a very homey place, I guess you could say.
Right.
For me, I grew up out in rural Ellis County, so I enjoy going to the city occasionally,
Right.
but I don't think I can live there. It's just there's too much happening, there's too much going on, and I enjoy that that peace and the community that comes with being around people, but not too many people. And there's not so much going on that it's hard to slow down and have those connections with people. Also, in Ellis County, whether as an example, these communities support each other.
Right.
Yeah.
And to be a young person, I think you've mentioned on a previous episode at one point that you move away,
Right.
and then you realize, oh, I kind of miss what I had there,
yeah.
and then you come home and you realize, that as quickly as these communities are changing, Waxahachie and Midlothian,
Oh, yeah.
Ennis, and all these places are growing so quickly, but that sense of community never really goes away. So it's definitely magnetic.
Outstanding. So, Kaitlin, I'll ask you the same question, which I probably know the answer to, but why Ellis County?
Yes. Well, I was born and raised here in Midlothian, and I also went to Fort Worth and lived there for a little bit as a young single gal, and it was different, walking in the grocery store and nobody knowing who I was, and it is a big part of my business as being a resource for the community. I do a lot of stuff with the Chamber of Commerce. I'm also on the Midlothian Downtown Business Association here in Midlothian, and so it's a big part of my business being that resource for the area. So knowing what's going on and being a big part of this community, and so that's what kind of drew me back.
Outstanding.
Yes.
So I'll start with you now.
Okay.
This one. So you said you're part of the chamber. So why did you choose to serve? I mean, why did you choose to serve in Ellis County?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Well, it had a lot to do with my family.
Yeah.
My sister is also very involved in the chamber as well. But there's just not a lot of people in my industry as a mortgage loan officer that are these resources for the community. So that was kind of a pushing factor. But also, I just like it. I just enjoy knowing what's going on. I enjoy being part of the community. I just enjoy it. And so, I mean, it's just fun for me. And it's a way for me to give back to the community. As a young person in the community, I do like to go and make my presence known as being, under 30 businesswoman. It's a big deal to, people out there seeing someone who has a decently successful career, grew up in Ellis County, now has a business here and has done it through these routes that we want these kids to take. So everything that these kids are doing in school, we want them to do what I did. And so it's cool for them to say well, she did it. So
Yeah, that's outstanding.
give back to the community.
So Kevin, I'll ask you the same question. So I would say that working with the news industry and the things you do as a service industry, and so why'd you choose that?
Well, having gotten to know Ellis County was a big part of it.
Right.
I can look at a map, a weather map or radar, that kind of thing, and be able to tell you on a familiar level where things are happening, and be able to say, not just Waxahachie, Midlothian, Ferris, Ennis, where these things are happening, but down to a local level of where a street is or where a community is, those kind of things. And when it comes to the media markets, the Dallas media market has 40 plus counties to cover.
Right.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that something terrible can't happen in one of those areas and in multiple areas. So they have to cover all those places.
Yeah.
But when you have a county level coverage like I do, it's much easier to cover one, at times maybe two, very serious situations in real time, and not have to say, well, I'm going to cover what's going on in Ellis County, then we'll go over to Dallas County, then there's a storm in Kaufman County, then let's circle back to. By the time you come back to Ellis County, a town can be wiped out.
Yeah.
How quickly severe weather happens. And then on the other side of it, when I do my weekend outlooks and weekday outlooks, those videos that I cover around the county, I'm able to go to such interesting places and focus on communities that don't often get that kind of publicity.
Right.
And so, it's just easier to be able to mold and really meld together that local severe weather coverage that is detailed to the point where people can really be safe, but also enjoy that sense of community that we have, and make it content that's both engaging and interesting, but also familiar and comfortable.
Yeah.
So, it's just, I've always loved Ellis County. This is home to me. This has been home, like I said, for a long time.
Yeah.
Right.
So to be able to engage with the community and use the kind of gifts that I have here is the most rewarding thing I can imagine.
Outstanding. That's great, man. So we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Kaitlin Bush with Mid-America Mortgage Southwest here in Midlothian. Whether you are purchasing a home or refinancing, we are here to help you every step of the way.
Whether you're a first-time home buyer or you've done the purchasing process multiple times before, we treat our customers like family here at Mid-America Mortgage Southwest, and we will walk you through every step of the way to make this transaction as smooth as possible. You can reach me at 214-598-7839 or send an email to kbush@mamsw.com.
So welcome back, guys. We're back here with Keeping It Real with Kent, and I have Kaitlin and Kevin here, and we're going to talk one more time about just, why would you think people should move to Ellis County?
So as a young homeowner, I think that the community is amazing. We have a lot of events going on all the time through the chamber, through Midlothian Downtown Business Association, through the city of Midlothian. I mean, they put on events throughout the year as well. It's a very fun community. We're still a small town, small community, but we have, the, nicer homes and things like that people are really wanting. But just the community, even though we're not as small as we used to be, even Waxahachie and Ennis are always growing. It's still such a small, tight-knit community that whenever you walk into Kroger or into Brookshire's, even Walmart, I mean, you see somebody that you know. I mean, I always see someone, or, I pull up at Chick-fil-A and they're like, "Hey, Kaitlin, how's it going? Good to see you." And, they make sure my diet lemonade has easy ice, stuff like that. It's still such a tight-knit community, and it just makes me want to, bring my family here. And my niece goes to school here. As her aunt, I was invited to her Halloween party. I mean, that is what you're looking for. And you can find that as a young person in this community. It's amazing. I love it.
Outstanding. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So Kevin, tell us why you think people should come to Ellis County.
So that question makes me think back to my days in school when we were always talking about where we want to go, what we want to do. Mm-hmm. And in high school, we were always talking about how boring Waxahachie was. I was like, there's nothing to do here. It was like, we're always looking at, Arlington and Dallas and these places. They've got cool malls, and they've got this, they've got that, all these things that we think we're going to be spending our time on as adults. Little did we know. But ultimately, I think you're right. There's the sense of community and being familiar with people. Yeah. But when it comes down to it, my family is here, and so we have that support behind us and that added sense of just, well, I'll say it this way. My grandson, or my son, can be a grandson to my parents, right. and they're just down the street. Right. Yeah. We don't have to coordinate, holidays of figuring out where across the country we're going to travel. Yeah, that's very. And they can spend time with them regularly, and so we're able to keep the family close together. We're also able to engage in those events, and it's a little easier to engage with people that we know, right. because they're not as huge. As we grow, we Waxahachie and Midlothian and some of these places are really good at growing, but still kind of hanging on to that small town mentality. Yeah. And then there's just the fact that we know these places, we know these communities, we know these towns, and as they grow, I think that we're able to hold on a little bit to what we used to have, and those towns' identities. And then lastly, I would just say that when you move away and then you move back, you are reminded of what made you proud to be from there, right. from the start. And then, we want to show our kids, hey, this is where I used to play, this is where I went to school, so we're able to pass those traditions on. Right. And I've had a lot of friends that moved away and they did big things in big places, and then they brought that back home. Right. Yeah. And were able to make Waxahachie less of kind of the boring place that we all dreaded. They were able to bring their gifts and their talents and things. A lot of my friends that I went to school with are teachers now, right? Or they're police officers, or they're in different roles where they're able to bring some of the things that they got when they went away for school, or they went away for a period of time just to try big city life or a different state or something. So we're bringing in these positives that we brought other places and combining it with what we grew up here. And I think it's making Ellis County a younger place. But at the same time, I think that we are doing a good job of combining that with Ellis County's history and our heritage and what we are so proud of here, just to make it a place that we hope that our kids will enjoy as well.
Outstanding. Yeah, I agree 1,000%, guys. You know, of course, I'm a long-term, diehard Ellis County person. You know, I've been here for my entire life, and I came kind of the same way. My parents brought me here. I mean, they didn't grow up here, but I did, and I went to every day of school here. And I think it's important for people to realize when you're out there and you're shopping the real estate market and you're trying to make decisions on, you know, what is it, where do I want to be and why do I want to be there? I mean, community is everything. You know, I mean, I get people, first thing they look at is schools, and I think that's a very good thing, and I think Ellis County kills it.
Yeah.
If you're looking for the right school for your children, I mean, we're talking about from Grandview through all the way up into Midlothian. I mean, you can go to Waxahachie, Grandview, you know, Red Oak, any of them. I mean, you got great schools here. So that's a big deal. And I think being a product, both of you being product, you Midlothian, you Waxahachie, you know, that says a lot that you decided to stay in the community that you grew up in. I mean, you know, when I, it's interesting for me when I go back and look at the people I know and the friends that I have here. You know, I mean, most of them I went to high school with.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, you know, just crazy. Yeah. So.
Well, and one thing I also think is in the Ellis County community, I mean, whenever you compare sales prices to Dallas, I mean, you're getting, for whatever you could get in Dallas, you're getting that on acreage, or you're getting an area, or you're getting a community where you can take your kids trick-or-treating, or that are doing, for example, like Rosebud here in Midlothian.
Right.
I mean, they put on events weekly.
Right.
So what people can pay for a little townhome in Dallas, right around this corner from the mall or whatever, you can get here in Midlothian with that sense of community.
Right.
And those people who are so welcoming and that actually bake you the cookies when you move in and come, you know,
Right.
so that kind of neighborly feel. So tying back into real estate as a young homeowner, I mean, it makes you feel welcome and it makes you want to stay.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you can buy a house and it can, you know, you can really like the house and you can really like the area. Oh, it's nice, it's not that far from work. But then you have this community around you that's kind of built up under you and they want you around. It makes a big deal.
Yeah.
The thing that I'll add to that too is that we've been through a whirlwind of a year and a half, couple years, where we've seen political changes, we've seen a pandemic, we've seen all of these different things, and our generation is used to change. I mean, we've had to adjust so much just in the period of time that we've been alive. So, but it's been comforting to have been able to go through some of those things with a community we're familiar with. So our classmates and the kids that we grew to learn life with.
Yeah.
And one example that I can talk about is that during the historic freeze.
Right.
To bring in my weather angle a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
We are fortunate, my family, we're fortunate to be on an electric cooperative that didn't lose power as much as many other folks did.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we would have power for a couple hours, then it would go off for 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But that was much more stable
Right.
than some friends of ours, for example, that were down in Italy, Texas.
Right.
No power, no water, nothing.
Nothing.
Right.
Their home basically just stopped functioning and was
Right.
almost unlivable because of how cold it was getting. So we were able to host them.
Oh,
awesome.
right.
And then I have friends that, you know, that are dads now and that kind of thing. So I was able to check in on them and see if they needed anything.
Yeah.
So to be able to go through life and live the rest of our lives with the people that we grew up with, especially when we're going through such hard times. And granted, it is easier to be connected across the world. I always joke with people, it's as easy to talk to my neighbor as it is to talk to someone in Beijing.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the difference is
That's true.
that when all of that is taken away from us, right? When those connections mean nothing,
Yeah.
and our power is gone and these kind of things, we still have that community around us in proximity where we can take care of each other and check on each other and help build each other up because we know these people, we grew up with these people. So, and we're the same generation, we know kind of how we operate and what our priorities are. And so the more that we can build that community here locally in Ellis County, I think it just makes life better.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I agree.
So what I would say is this: is guys, from the real estate standpoint, is we want you to come to Ellis County. It's a great place to be. It's a great place to live. We've done it,
Yep.
all the years you have, and all the years you have, and all the years I have, which is a lot more than both of them, And
What is us combined?
right.
That makes you feel better.
Thank you. But yeah, so come to Ellis County and tune in and keep it real with Kent. Have a great afternoon.